What an absolutely incredible performance. Ak, I saw you watching there ringside. I saw the splatters of the sweat, the blood, the spit, all of the fun fluids right on your face from that first row experience. Was that the explosive performance you were talking about that Boots had to deliver?
Absolutely. And listen, I like to toot my own horn from time to time. I predicted the 6th round. After the 6th round, Stanionis didn't come up off the stool. The body attack was the major component in this fight. He started it early, and even though Stanionis kept applying pressure, kept moving forward, he slowed down round after round because of the body attack. Look, Boots Ennis has always been knocking on the door of the pound-for-pound list. So I agree with Eddie Hearn, no question that he cracked the top 10 pound-for-pound list tonight.
Where do you think Stanionis could have performed better tonight? I mean, he did land a few very heavy punches on him, but it seems like he just couldn't get the job done.
Well, he couldn't do anything better. He did all he can do against that level of opponent and that greatness. Look, I think that he landed some shots, but as I've been saying all week, and I said it earlier in the opening of the show, you're going to get hit if people want that level of performance, that level of aggressive onslaught of offense. You're going to get hit, especially when you're fighting another world champion who also has skill. He has great timing. He did land some big shots. And also, Boots showed that he does have a beard. He has a chin. I mean, probably one of the best in boxing because he's got hit with some big shots and no issues.
Yeah, let's see some of the highlights. I mean, I watched him get hit right in the face and put a smile on his face after it. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah, he got into a groove there. I mean, the left uppercut was landing all night on the chin and also right in the solar plex in the midsections. And that was the game plan from the beginning. Stanionis showed a lot of heart, very tough. He kept coming. It seemed like his nose might have been broken in the last couple of rounds in that fight, and he still kept coming. But his corner knows best. I mean, look, sometimes you got to save a fighter from himself. Stanionis, tough opponent. He can hold his head up high. He can go on to win some bigger fights. Just tonight, he was up against one of the best fighters in the world, and Boots showed what they were talking about 3 or 4 fights ago. Even though they were complaining about his last 2 performances, he kind of reeled everybody back. I told you that fight fans are forgetful. Trust me, tonight they forgot about everything else they were complaining about.
You touched upon it earlier, but Eddie Hearn says he should definitely be looked into top 10 pound for pound. Do you agree with that?
No question about it. I just said a few moments ago that he has been knocking on the door. Some people had him on the list, but tonight he definitely cracked that list. I don't know where on the top 10. I'm going to go home tonight. I'm going to look at that top 10 list. But I think Barack and I are going to do a new top 10 list. He's going to be on it.
Make sure you make that list. Make sure you talk to Manik so he can disagree with you all. Who do you see being next for Boots?
Man, there's so many opponents. Look, Chris said it. Norman is a great opponent, but I think Boots might even be looking at bigger fights at 154. You obviously had Virgil Ortiz. People complain about him not fighting Virgil, and maybe that fight is next. But let the man enjoy the victory. But there's so many guys outside of Norman. I don't want to see him against anybody else in the welterweight division. I want to see Boots at junior middleweight fighting those big names there.
We'll see what's next. It sounds like one that could possibly happen. Let's send it down ringside to Chris, Todd, and Sergio.
Let's can I just jump in there and fire back at Ak, who is like Sugar Ray Boots over here, gonna put him right in top 3 on his pound for pound list. Ak, I say this to NBA fans that complain about all-star voting. If you're gonna put Boots Ennis in the top 10, you gotta tell me who you're taking off. You taking David Benavidez off that list? You taking Junto Nakatani off that list? So make sure you identify who you're taking off, Ak.
Give me some time. Give me the weekend, and I'll think about who's coming off.
You're gonna pull Gervonta Davis off, aren't you?
Absolutely, you got it, Todd.
There you go.
Anyway,
there we go.
Doesn't matter.
Easy to breathe. Hey, here's the thing. Remember a year ago, people were kind of baiting Terrence Crawford. Hey, would you fight Boots Ennis? After the last couple of performances, that kind of faded out, and people were like, well, Ennis isn't on Crawford's level. After this performance tonight, he may not be there yet, but are we seeing a Terrence Crawford type of career coming out of Boots Ennis?
I don't think people believed that Ennis wasn't on Terrence Crawford's level. It just didn't bring enough money to the table, right? Like, Terrence Crawford is now a money weight fighter. 47, 54, 68. He is about the money. And at that point, when he was at 47, Boots just didn't make enough dollars. I think everybody believed that the talent was inside him. Look at all the career arc of Boots Ennis. The win over Sergey Lipinets, the win over Roy Monvia, 2 wins over Karen Chukadzian. Like, this guy has the talent to be, whether it's now or later, inside the top 10. Now he's just raising his profile. You think about it, last 2 fights, he has done, around 10,000 plus in Philadelphia for the Shukajan fight and the David Avanesian fight. Right around that number here in Atlantic City. Eddie Hearn promises he'll be back in Philadelphia for his next fight. You probably put 15,000 fans in Philadelphia at the Wachovia Center for that next time out. That's going to make Boots Ennis a very appealing guy to fight moving forward.
You know, it was great tonight, Sergio. He was so entertaining, so relaxed. This is the kind of fighter people want to pay to see. Floyd Mayweather, for all the great things he did, towards the end of his career, he just wasn't a lot of fun to watch. People want to see him lose. Boots Ennis, if he performs like this, people are going to shell out the cash to watch him.
Like Manic said, especially in Philly, in his hometown. I mean, this is a star right here. This is the ability and the attributes you want in every fighter. This is a puncher. This is a boxer. This is an entertainer. This is somebody that will lay it on the line. He doesn't mind getting hit as long as he's entertaining the fans. Are you not entertained, Todd? I think we all are. That was a bloody beatdown by an undefeated champion. Normally, you box the ears off of bulls like that. He just speared down the bull, and he took him down. It's impressive. That's as good as it gets on the top level.
How hard is it going to be for Boots Ennis to get some of these fellow champions in the division to actually come and fight him?
It shouldn't be that difficult. Look, there were negotiations last year between Boots Ennis' team and Brian Norman. They were about $500,000 apart on that deal. Spinning it forward, you can probably make up that difference and make it worth the while of Brian Norman. Look, Brian Norman's an excellent fighter, but he just fought on the undercard of the Michaela Mayer-Sandy Ryan fight. Like, this is an opportunity for him to headline, to become the unified champion. So if I'm Eddie Hearn, my phone calls are to his friend Carl Moretti over at Top Rank. I'm calling Jolene Mazzone, Adrian Clark, the managers for Brian Norman, as I name check everybody in his camp and saying, let's make a deal for this summer. Let's not let this marinate. Let's come back this summer to Philadelphia and make a mega fight in the 147-pound division. I
agree, man. You got to unify. I mean, this is the time. He already picked up 2 straps. He took down a champion. His first champion. He wanted to beat a champion. He just did. Now he has another one that's calling his name, and he on the eyesights of Norman Jr. I think that's a perfect way to go.
Hey, you guys are all about, hey, Norman Jr. is going to take this fight. If he doesn't, if he says, no, I'm going to try and fight Barrios, I'm going to try and become unified first, they can easily avoid this guy if they want to. We've seen in the history of boxing fights that we think are so easy to make just never get made. Okay, so if it's not Brian Norman Jr., who will it be?
Look, Mario Barrios obviously on that list, another title holder. He's looking, I think, for one big payday towards the end of his career. But then if the other welterweights aren't available, it is a move up in weight. And a Virgil Ortiz showdown is a massive fight. You do that in Philadelphia, it probably sells out the building. You do it at a place in Texas, it probably sells out a building. That is a huge fight whenever it happens. I know that Boots' team is probably going to wake up on Monday and say, look, if we can get a unification fight done quickly, I'll stay at 147. But as time goes by, if not one of these deals doesn't come together, moving to 154, fighting Virgil Ortiz, that's not a bad alternative.
Who's the favorite in that fight if that happens, Chris?
I don't know. A year ago, I would have said Boots Ennis, but the way that we have seen Virgil Ortiz fight in the last 2 fights against Sergey Bohachuk, and more importantly against Israel Madrimov, who was a legit top guy at 154, I would have gone 60-40 Boots a year ago. Right now, I call it 50-50.
I would think the bigger man. I think Virgil is a violent, puncher, and the natural 154-pounder. I would make Virgil the slight favorite. And even if he wasn't the favorite, he was an underdog, I would still pick Ortiz to squeeze that out.
All right, either way, so many exciting fights in the future for Boots Ennis, and we're going to be here along for the ride on DAZN. Thanks for joining us tonight. For Chris, Sergio, I'm Todd. Let's send it back to Emily Austin.
Thanks, guys. A busy one next week here on DAZN as the inaugural Riyadh season WBC Boxing Grand Prix is being dubbed the World Cup of Boxing and will feature 128 fighters competing to be crowned one of the 4 Grand Prix champions. It's a knockout tournament that will be contested across 4 different weight categories. Phase 1 runs Thursday to Sunday. BoxLab Promotions brings us Kevin Brown versus Estuary Suero from Orlando on Friday. Dalton Smith is back in action Saturday as he takes on Canadian Matthew Germain. And undisputed flyweight champion Gabriela Fundora headlines against undefeated Marilyn Badillo, all available as part of your DAZN subscription. And of course, a highly anticipated Bad Blood War between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn takes place April 26th live from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Cannot wait for that one. It's been getting up really hot and feisty. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and good night, Atlantic City.